going to be talking about computer terminology. And computer terminology are the words that we use as professionals to describe our computer. This is important because we want to be understood by others and help others work with us. When you use the correct terminology for your computer, you're going to be presenting yourself professionally using language that fits the workplace. You're going to sound like a professional. And because of that, your coworkers and your supervisor will generally believe that you know what you're talking about. Even if you know what you're doing, but you don't know how to describe it in a language that people understand, they may not be so certain about your skills. And ultimately, as I said, it helps them understand what you're saying. So we're going to talk about some of the user interface items that you see when you use your computer and what terms we use to describe them. The first thing you'll see when you start your computer up and log in is the desktop. There will usually be some type of a background wallpaper, and you'll see other items there as well. And I'll show you what my desktop looks like, and everyone's desktop will look a little bit differently as they use their computer. They're going to accumulate files and folders, programs on their desktop perhaps, and they could customize some of these menus and things, but most of our computers will look about the same, and most of the items will be probably in similar or the same areas of the screen. The other thing I should mention is I'm using a utility which will show you how I'm using my mouse. So for example, when I click, it's going to show you how I'm clicking the mouse buttons and things like that. So I'm going to minimize this window using the controls in the upper right-hand corner. And you'll see that mouse icon appear when I click the minimize button. I left-clicked it to minimize it. And now I need to hide my Zoom interface, which you can't see. All right. This is my desktop. I have that same campaign wallpaper that I selected because it looks nice. Right in the center of the screen, I put my recycle bin and a file because I want to show you how that works in a few minutes. Down at the bottom on the far left, I have the Windows menu. Now I have Windows 10, so my taskbar stretches across the entire bottom of the screen. If you have Windows 11, generally it's going to be somewhere more in the middle of the screen at the bottom, but you'll see it. It's right there on the left side. To the right of that, this item here with the icons on it is called the taskbar. And then over here on the right is an item called the system tray. Got a clock and calendar and a few other items. All right, so desktop is the whole thing we're looking at here with the wallpaper. Recycle bin for me is right here in the center of the screen. Windows menu lower left. Taskbar in the middle. System tray on the bottom right. Back to the notes. So we're going to talk about our input devices for a minute, and these are the devices that we use to control our computer. All standard computers will have two input devices. They may have additional specialized ones, but almost all computers will have at least the two. And the first is the keyboard, of course. That's what we type on. It's got all of our characters, letters, numbers, symbols, special control keys, and things like that. And in case you didn't know, it's actually possible to control absolutely everything you do on your computer solely from the keyboard using keyboard shortcuts. So keyboard shortcuts can be a very efficient way to use your computer in some cases, but most users prefer a mouse because it's a visual way of doing things. You point at something, you ask the mouse to do something for you. And that's that second input device. A mouse or a trackpad. If you have a laptop, then you probably have a trackpad built into your laptop. It works in the same way as a mouse, but it looks a little bit different. And it allows us to control our on-screen pointer. That's the little arrow, and the little arrow will change into different symbols to give you an indication of what kind of function it can perform. So if I put over text, it changes, for example. That's normal. We also call this pointer a cursor or a mouse pointer. It's all the same thing. Both of these devices, the trackpad and the mouse, they do the same thing, but of course they're physically a little bit different. Most will have 2 buttons. Some will have more than 2, but they'll have at least the 2, a right and a left. It's on a Windows system. Mac will sometimes have a 1-button mouse that performs different functions. And we use the mouse pointer to move your mouse pointer, select, and click items on your computer. Talk a little bit more about that now. So when we use the mouse, we'll just call it a mouse, whether it's a trackpad or a mouse, same basic device. Mouse is the older term, or it's an old school term for it, and so that's generally how we just refer to it. When we talk about clicking, we're talking about using the left mouse button and clicking it just once. It's just a tap. Double click is clicking the left mouse button twice in a row without moving the mouse, just 2 quick taps. And right clicking is using the right mouse button and clicking it just once. So there's 3 different types of clicks. When we talk about clicking, we're always talking about left click. The double clicking, same, that's a double left click. We're talking about right clicking, we're talking about clicking the right mouse button. We don't use the right mouse button nearly as much, but it is used in some situations. And we also have the concept of drag, and drag selects items in an area of the screen. When we click, we're just clicking on a single item. We want to select multiple things, a collection of things, an area, then we can use drag. And to execute a drag, we will click and hold our left mouse button, hold it down, and then move your mouse to a new area of the screen. All right, so this utility I have will show you how I'm using my mouse. We'll go back to my desktop. So for example, if I wanted to select the recycle bin, I can just single click it with the left mouse button. You saw that mouse icon appear just briefly. I'll hold it down. Right, that's a left click. A double click will generally open something. So if I want to open this recycle bin or open this file, I can use the left mouse button and you'll see that mouse icon display a double click. All right, so I double clicked it, 2 rapid clicks on the left mouse button, and it opened the recycle bin. This is a program that opened it up in a window here. I'm going to close it, left mouse click, click, okay. Right click will bring up what's called a context menu. And that means it's going to change depending on where you right click. It's going to give you some menu options that are specific to whatever you're right clicking on. So I'm on my desktop, so it's giving me some things that relate to this desktop. And if I want to drag, I click with my left mouse button. I'm holding my left mouse button, and I am dragging the mouse down to select an area. Now I've selected both items here on the desktop, the recycle bin and that file. So again, left click, just 1 tap on the left mouse button. Double click is 2 clicks on the left. Right click is the right mouse button. And then drag is this. Okay, those are our basic mouse movements and the terms we use to describe them. So next we'll talk about the taskbar, and the taskbar does many different things for us, but most people will use it to open and close programs and to control what they're viewing on their screen. It's going to be at the bottom of the screen between the Windows menu and the system tray. Looks a little bit different on Windows 11 than Windows 10, but it's all basically the same. Our taskbar can hold icons, and those control programs or applications or apps. 3 different words that all mean the same exact thing. They're used in different places, mainly for marketing reasons. But a program is an application. An application is an app. These words all have the same meaning. We use them sometimes in different places, and marketers try to differentiate their products by using these different words, but we should know that actually it's all the same thing. Okay, so we'll take a look at our taskbar here. One thing we can do is if we put our mouse cursor over a program that's currently open, it's going to show you this preview screen of what that program is doing. It's called peeking. We're peeking to see, well, what's that program doing? If I want to hide this program, I'm currently viewing Chrome. I click it in the taskbar. It's going to hide it down onto the taskbar. Still open, but it's just not viewable. If I click it again, it'll open it back up. So this is a way of controlling what program I'm viewing. If I wanted to open a program that's currently closed, for example, my file manager, I can click that and it opens that program. Now I have two programs open. I can switch between them by clicking back and forth on them on the taskbar. One other thing I can do is I can close a program from the taskbar. If I put my mouse cursor over it to hover, I get the preview. I move my mouse cursor up onto the preview. I have a red X, which is exactly the same red X as in the program itself. If I click that, it will close that program. Let me do that one more time so you can see it. Okay, that's called closing the program. Next up, recycle bin, and the recycle bin holds deleted files. It's our chance to undelete these files if we've accidentally deleted something. And we'll take a quick look at this. So recycle bin, I just put right here on the middle of my desktop. If I double click it, it will open it. Okay. Currently, folder is empty. There's nothing in here. I haven't deleted anything, so there's nothing to see. Okay. I have a file here. If I right click it, I bring up the context menu. I will choose delete. That file disappeared now, and now you can see the recycle bin icon changed to show you, well, there's something in it now. If I double click it, it opens. There's the file I deleted. If I right click it, I get a context menu that is related to this deleted file. I can choose restore. That's going to put the file back where it was deleted from. And actually put it up here in the upper left-hand corner because, well, Windows didn't remember exactly where it was located on the desktop, but it knew it was on the desktop. So it just put it in the first convenient location. Next is a system tray, and it has some utilities such as a clock, calendar, networking, and audio volume. The items most people will use are networking, for example, if you're connecting to a Wi-Fi connection on your laptop, and then audio volume to control sound. And it's usually got a bunch of other stuff. Most people will never use it, but I'll show you what it looks like. So again, system tray, bottom right. Clock and calendar. If I click on this, it will open up the calendar view. If I click again, it will hide it. Here's my audio control. I can adjust the volume. If I click on the speaker, it will mute sound. Here's my networking icon. If I wanted to connect to a different wireless network, I could do it here. And then there's this up arrow, which hides some additional items. And every computer will be a little different what's going to be listed here. But these are access to various utilities and programs, and you may want to take a look and see what's there. And as I said, most people probably will never use this stuff. But that's okay. It's there if you need it for some reason. So when we talk about Windows, we're talking about the Microsoft Windows operating system. That is the name of the software installed on our Windows computers to make them work. And it's called Windows because it uses the concept of Windows. Macs use the concept of Windows. Modern Linux desktop machines use the concept of Windows because a window is just a container for a program or an application or an app. Right now, my Chrome web browser is contained within a window. The window gives it these additional controls in the upper right-hand corner to adjust the size and position and things of that nature. Again, no difference between a program, an application, or an app. It's all the same meaning to us as the computer users. Being able to position, resize, control your windows can be helpful in making your computer more comfortable and convenient for you to get work done. And in the computer usage lesson, we'll show you all kinds of ways you can control these items, how your windows appear on your screen for the type of work that you're doing. And when we click that red X in the upper right-hand corner, we're closing the program or application or app. Closing the program. Okay, so we opened and closed programs from the taskbar already, so I'm not going to do that part again. Finally, we have the Windows menu, and this gives you access to all of the software that's installed on your computer. And here I'm using a slightly different word, software. So software includes programs, application, and apps, but also types of system utilities, for example, controlling Bluetooth or networking or printer drivers or things like that that are software that make our computer run, but we don't necessarily directly interact with it. So in the Windows menu, you'll see everything that's installed on our system if you need to access it for some reason. It's also this Windows menu as a way to turn your computer off or restart it. You can log off, and it has many other features. So I'll show you what mine looks like. And on Windows 11, the Windows menu looks a bit different, but again, it's going to work about the same. So we have this list of software here. At the top, it's going to show you what's been installed most recently. So if you installed some new software, it'll be right at the top of the list, which is kind of convenient. And then we have an alphabetized list of software. Now it's alphabetized, but some things are not really in alphabetical order because, for example, if you're looking for Notepad, you're not going to look under N, you're going to look under W for Windows accessories. How to know that Notepad is there? Well, you just have to look for it and find it and then discover that because Windows is not very helpful that way. So it's not really a very good menu. Most people will not use this to access their programs, actually. But it's there because it's the complete list of all the software in case you need to find it. On the right side here, I have some additional controls. I have access to my user profile, where I can sign out. It's like locking the computer if you use a password. I have a power control, so if I want to restart it, shut it down, and depending on your laptop, you may have some power saving modes you can enter. The right side is access to programs, and all of this is customized. If I want to have access to my photo software, well, I can have this icon here. If I never use the Microsoft Store, which I don't, I can just take it off and customize this menu. But not a great menu, to be honest, so most people don't use it to access software. We have better ways of doing it, which is really the taskbar. So going further, to use these items effectively, we're going to be talking about computer usage and computer efficiency in the next session, and we'll demonstrate, show you how to work with it. The goal is really to learn how to use your computer and the various functions and features that it has, and how to use these to get work done efficiently in the workplace, because that's really key. Just being able to use your computer is an important first step. But then to really master it is to become efficient in navigating the interface, arranging windows so that your workflow works well for the type of work that you're doing. And even if you're already skilled, you're already a computer expert, there's, as you know, anytime you learn about a subject, there's always more, always further you can go, especially when it comes to computers and technology. And what we find is that most people, even knowledgeable people, people have been working with computers for years, there's gaps in their knowledge that they're not aware of because we only use our computers in ways that we need to. If we're in a new work environment, there are probably some new things that we'll need to know to use our computers most effectively. Because our goal here is right, prepare for work. So learning workplace techniques on the computer, not just being good with the computer, but what are those features of the system that will really help you excel in the workplace? But no matter where you're at, beginner or advanced, the most important thing you can do is practice your skills every day. If you don't practice skills, you're going to tend to forget them. You're not going to feel comfortable using them. You won't feel confident in the future doing these things. If you practice them regularly, they'll become like second nature to you.